When you're gluten-free, the holiday season can be rough. So many of our traditions are centered around food. Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners where the turkey is stuffed with bread and a dinner roll on the side, pretty much every dessert, cookie decorating parties. Heck, we even leave cookies out for Santa. We're just all assuming he doesn't have celiac disease. Maybe he's been feeding those cookies to his reindeer or taking them home to Mrs. Claus. Just saying. Being gluten-free around the holidays was especially hard the first few years after my celiac diagnosis. It's gotten easier, but I've come to realize it will always be a challenge. Just a quick heads up, the tips in this video are helpful for any holiday, no matter what you celebrate. For the sake of this video and it being from my personal experience, I'll mostly be talking about Christmas. In case you can't tell, with the Christmas sweater and all that. It has ducks!
They're geese.
So here are my 6 tips for surviving the holidays when you're gluten-free. Tip number 1, take charge. If you can be in charge of any holiday events with food, do it. Offer to host a party or your family's Christmas dinner. Yes, it's more work, but it's the easiest way to be able to enjoy the meal without worrying that you'll be glutened. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants Boxing Day on the toilet.
Ew, I'm not saying that. For true peace of mind, you can make everything gluten-free. Everything. I made French bread for our New Year's charcuterie board a few years ago. Friends of friends who had no idea I had celiac disease were shocked that it was gluten-free, and they loved it. For Christmas, my herb and garlic pull-apart rolls are a crowd favorite. When hosting, I also rely heavily on naturally gluten-free foods like fruits, veggies, and cheeses. If you want to give people the option to bring a gluten-containing dish, then at least when you're hosting, you can control where it's placed. Keep it in a separate area from the gluten-containing items to ensure there's no cross-contact. I think we've all seen Uncle Bill plunge his dinner roll into the previously safe bowl of spinach dip. Double dipping, wandering spoons, and flying crumbs are hazardous for us celiac folk. Taking charge of these holiday events helps you to reduce these risks, Uncle Bill. P.S. I don't have an Uncle Bill, just a made-up uncle. If hosting is not an option for you and you're unsure if the food will be safe, well, that's where tip number 2 comes in. Chat with the host. If you know there are certain events where someone else will be making your dinner, it's best to have a conversation with that person ahead of time. This can go a couple of ways. If it makes sense for you, see if you can get involved with the actual making of the dinner. This is more for a family event and if you actually like cooking. If that's not an option, ask the host about what they're planning on making. Explain to them that you need to avoid any amount of gluten, including things that state may contain. This means checking labels on everything, including soup stock and spices, and using separate utensils and cutting boards. If they're overwhelmed by all this, which is totally understandable, that's when it might be a good idea to offer to bring your own food. It'll probably be easier for everyone. If they still insist they want to cook something for you, you can kindly ask that they keep the packaging for anything that they use so you can double check it when you get there. At the end of the day, do what you are most comfortable with. Tip number 3, speak up. It can be challenging to speak up for yourself at a social event, but you're going to have to get used to doing it. While you may not want to direct more attention to the fact that you have a dietary restriction, it's better than staying quiet and being anxious about cross-contact. Here are a couple examples where you might want to speak up. When the host has prepared several dips or a cheese board. If bread or crackers are being served, there's a good chance those dips will get crumbs in them. Even if there are gluten-free crackers, once Uncle Bill starts digging in, those dips may not be safe. The easiest thing to do is ask if you can have a separate plate to put some cheese and dips on before everyone starts eating. Be sure to take as much as you think you will need because you likely won't be able to go back for seconds. Piggy me is so sad.
Piggy Me!
Piggy me!
Piggy Me, a memoir by Robert Harrison.
You can't eat that while we're recording.
I'm not eating anything.
Piggy you! The same applies if it's a buffet or a family-style dinner. Even though it feels rude, ask if you can scoop your food first to prevent cross-contact. If you're new to gluten-free and you're wondering how there could be cross-contact at a buffet, let me tell you. Plate, pita. Scoop the hummus on the pita. Put it back in the bowl, cross-contact. Bowl of chili, dinner rolls. Little Charlie grabs one, crumbs fall, cross-contact, cross-contact. Tip number 4, learn to bake your favorite holiday treats. Chances are there will be some holiday treat that you want to have but you can't buy anywhere. Or maybe you can find it, but the store-bought gluten-free version isn't very good. Or it's expensive. That's when it's helpful to learn how to make it yourself. If you're going to start testing out a new recipe, including converting an old family recipe to gluten-free, I would recommend testing it a couple of times a few weeks before the big day. That way, you'll have some time to perfect it. You don't want to be stuck serving something that didn't turn out quite right to your guests. They'll make an even bigger fuss about it being gluten-free. Also, you don't want to have to deal with the disappointment of crumbly cookies when you're cozied up on Christmas Eve. Like my alliteration.
Me too.
If you want to learn how to make all your holiday favorites gluten-free without searching for or spending time testing recipes, check out the Holidays course. This course is perfect for those new to baking and expert bakers alike. In the course, I walk you through how to make cranberry orange pistachio scones, herb and garlic pull-apart rolls, maple syrup pumpkin pie, classic shortbread cookies, ginger sparklers, gingerbread men, and a chocolate Swiss roll with candy cane cream. And yes, it does taste as good as it sounds. To sign up, visit glutenfreebakingcourses.com or visit the link in the description below. Tip number 5, bring your thick skin. This one requires more mental preparation than anything else, because if you're expecting it, it's less likely to ruin your day. If you're going to a lot of social events or family gatherings, you're bound to come across someone who makes a comment like, gluten-free? Ugh, give me all the gluten. Or someone pressuring you with, a little bit won't hurt. Or someone who tries to give you the, I knew someone with that, but they grew out of it. Now, if you're a little more confrontational like me, you can try to enlighten them about celiac disease or whatever reason you're on a gluten-free diet. It's possible that they just don't know, which is okay. Generally though, I doubt one little conversation is going to change their mind. Best to be ready with a response that doesn't escalate the situation, but also doesn't let people walk all over you.
Gluten-free? Ugh! Give me all the gluten!
Yeah, unfortunately it's for medical reasons. I don't have a choice.
A little bit won't hurt.
Actually, it will.
I knew someone with that, but they grew out of it.
There is no cure for celiac disease, so either they didn't really have it, or they're still causing damage and don't realize it. Honestly, I've only ever dealt with comments like this from strangers, and not very often. And last, but definitely not least, tip number 6, it's not all about food.
Rabbit!
I know, I'm shocked I'm saying that too. While many holiday events are based around food, there are lots of fun things you can plan that don't involve food at all. This means an outing where you don't need to ask a bunch of questions, call ahead to ask about a menu, or deal with awkward food situations. Here are a few ideas for you. Go see a show, go shopping, go skating, sleigh rides, visit a Christmas tree farm, make decorations, go for a hike, or watch a movie like The Holiday, or Elf, or A Christmas Story, or Home Alone, or Home Alone 2, or The Grinch, or A Christmas Carol, or Miracle on 34th Street, or It's a Wonderful Life, or Fireplace for Your Home. All of these ideas are super fun and get you into the holiday spirit without worrying about the menu. That said, I would be very sad if there wasn't at least one day where I could eat all the things I wanted. So if you're not hosting any of your holiday events, be sure to plan a special day just for yourself where you will be able to eat all the food. For me, half the enjoyment of food is enjoying it with others. So pick someone special to enjoy the day with you who gets it and who isn't going to make a fuss over it being gluten-free. Now I leave it to you. How do you survive the holiday season when you're gluten-free? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas.
That's it!
I did it?
You
Yay!
did it!
This means an outing. Oh, no! Oh, God! Okay, you can't be chewing those. Finish it.
That's it.
Oh, you scared me.